miners that, I feel like it's a little bit like I contributed to his network when he needed me, and now when we need him, he kind of left us in the dust. And I don't appreciate that. I don't have that much hash that it'll make a difference for them. But for me personally, this is more of like a idealistic stance where I don't want to contribute to Ethereum anymore, because it doesn't mean I'm not going to still collect it as an investor. I will, but I'm not going to, support the network, basically.
So I really like that. It seems like you really have, or miners really have a bond in a way, right? And you're still, which I said from the beginning, I was, for miners because I saw what they were doing and I appreciated it, like an activism thing. And they're still doing it, is what you're saying. Miners still stick together, and they're really still, a lot of them have that same mentality.
Well, I'm mining at a loss. I'm paying electric, I'm paying overhead. I've invested, almost $75,000 into equipment, and I pay every month the rent's due, every month the electricity's due. I have not shut off any miners. I keep mining even at a loss because I believe in the project and I believe in it long term. So I feel like if the majority of the people that support Ethereum want to fork off it, that they should have taken it a little bit more seriously, or they should have had a backup plan from the get-go. I mean, they could have saw this coming. I mean, it's not, it's kind of like it's either they're in on it or they're too stupid to realize it. But either way, I can't support that.
Can you do a fork? Is anybody just do a fork if all the miners say, I want to do a fork? First of all, I want to say the terminology here we're using is miners in two different ways. One, we're talking about human beings that are mining, like we've talked about. And then we're talking about those ASICs or those other GPU cards and things that are doing the work, machines that are doing the work, and they're called miners also.
We actually call them workers, so most of the time.
But when you just said miners, you put all your miners on.
People like me.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Because you have other miners working with you?
No, I meant like I have a business partner, but I'm just saying, in the community, the mining community, the people that donate their hash for the reward, but still donate their hash to the network, I think the majority of people are not going to be happy with their decision to underplay what Bitmain stands for. I think that it's a very serious threat to mining, and I think that it's up to each coin to either fork off of it or create some sort of system where maybe you have two algorithms, one's just for ASICs, one's just for GPUs, or whatever the case might be. I still believe it. But like you said, anyone can fork. Like Bitcoin Cash was not done by Bitcoin. They did not agree with the fork.
Right.
A lot of I don't know how much you want to get into conspiracies, but a lot of conspiracies on the internet feel that Bitmain actually created Bitcoin Cash, and that is really why they only accept, because they used to accept Bitcoin, Litecoin, and USD. Now they only accept Bitcoin Cash. They don't accept Bitcoin or Litecoin anymore. They accept USD still, but they just want Bitcoin Cash. I don't know. It's hard to say what it is, if it's a conspiracy or someone else created, but like you said, anyone could create it. It's up to the people to support it. I can make a coin right now. If no one mines it, it'll just go away.
But if all the miners decided to do a fork off of Ethereum, and I'll support that and get over to that fork, that can be done too if you're not happy with it, right?
That'll be the natural reaction to anything that happens that hurts the mining community. The miners will just migrate to coins that are treating them better, basically, right? They're like refugees on the coins, and I think one of the big issues is that miners accumulate so much knowledge, and I really do respect the people on YouTube for teaching other people how to get into this, because if you mine a bunch of coins and no one else mines it, your coins are worth nothing. It is absolutely essential that people grow the network and understand what it's doing, and that just maintaining the network itself is a job, and whatever value you accumulate based on coin appreciation or whatever is kind of a side effect of maintaining this new financial network.
So let's talk about, what they call the 51% attack. So I understand it from a Bitcoin point of view, and I guess this could be, one of the reasons you don't want Bitmain and anybody else to have so much of the market. Is that also an issue with other coins, or is it just mostly Bitcoin? Or let's just talk about that. Let's talk about what it is and why.
The different coins run on different algorithms, and they have different security flaws. And a 51% attack would be someone accumulating the majority of the network and then being able to approve transactions that could be fraudulent. They could be totally made up. Right? It's kind of like if someone got majority in the House or the Senate and they could vote through whatever bills they want. Currently, the network's integrity is maintained by everyone who my computers are constantly checking errors on his computers, and it's a group effort, and you get rewarded for finding these errors to make sure that the ledger is intact. And a 51% attack is a real threat, especially when machines are going up in countries where you have no idea who's controlling machines in China or North Korea or anywhere. And I feel a lot better knowing that there's machines in Jersey and Pennsylvania and stuff, and it's being maintained here and not by like a nefarious dictator or something like that, or the mining company, which is most likely what's going on. Yeah,
it's kind of like the rich getting richer, because if your ability to accumulate 51% on the network, you either you have a ton of miners, ton of money, whatever it is. So you don't want any one entity, especially when you're pitching this as a decentralized network. You don't want one entity to hold so much power, because, like you said, they can dictate different things. They can shut the network down. They can have malicious attacks on it. They can verify, transactions that aren't real. So there's a very serious threat to that, and we're trying to keep it decentralized, but like large mining facilities like Genesis Mining and stuff like that, they hold a lot of stuff. They are the first ones to get miners because they have insider contracts. They're not buying one or two machines. They're buying 1,000, 10,000, whatever. So they're buying directly from manufacturers. They're in Iceland, Genesis, so they're paying like a penny or two. Bitmain is in Mongolia. They're also paying a penny or two for electricity. So they're not really – the electricity is so cheap for them. They're making the machines themselves, basically, so that's cheap. And then on top of that, when they're done with it, they sell it back to you, a used machine that they claim is new. And they keep raising the price according to the fluctuation of the market. So, for instance, when Bitmain just came out with this E3 eTash machine that everyone's going crazy over, originally it's $800, and they limit it to one per person. Then a couple days later, it became 5 per person, and now it's $1,800 and unlimited amount. So they were waiting for the news because they got kind of screwed over on Monero, because they forked off of as soon as they released I think the first batch was like $9,000 for the miner. So people paid $9,000 for a machine they can't use. Kryptonite doesn't exist anymore. Only V7 exists. So they have a machine that is complete, and Bitmain didn't give anyone a refund. So they got a refund of everything except for $1,800. So everyone that ordered one of those miners got screwed out of $1,800 and now has a piece of equipment that's basically a giant paperweight, So, yeah.
So do those people that bought those machines blame Monero for doing the fork, or have you got any feedback from those guys?
I'm assuming that if you're able to buy a $9,000 machine, you're not like some supporter of Monero. You're just trying to make money.
Yeah, it's a hand in the honey pot kind of situation.
And when you try to make money, occasionally you're gonna their Dash miner also didn't do too well. So Bitmain has screwed over people occasionally. I would have to say I only have two ASIC Bitmain miners, Saya miners, and one of them came broken, literally arrived broken, and had to send the card back to them, and I'm still waiting for it to get back. Yeah. So it's like when you only have one place to buy everything from, it's not a good look. Like you want to have it spread out,
Right. That's the whole point, right? You want to have diversification, and so that you control the market your way. If you want to buy something that's less expensive or this and that, there's no competition in that if they're the only ones. So anyway, I'm glad that point came up, because we'll have to see what can be done about that. I mean, what can be done about that from the miner standpoint? Can you guys come together and do something else? I don't know. Can you?
Yeah, people are constantly making new projects and new coins, and I think in the past 10 years we saw it go from one coin, it was Bitcoin, to now there's thousands of coins. We're going to see millions of coins soon. It's just a matter of time, and it's not that much time. And when it gets to the point where everyone might have their own coin, and then you have your own currency that fluctuates in value, and that's like there's some really crazy and exciting projects out there. I know there's 42 coin, where there's only 42 coins that were minted, and it's a joke based on the Douglas Adams book, but like that's just a hilarious one. And so they don't all have to be these like giant money-making operations. They could be for specific industries. There's charity coins out there where the fees are getting donated to like a church or a homeless shelter and stuff. So there's a lot of potential for these projects, and we've just seen the very beginning of it.
Well, Dogecoin was a joke, right?
Yeah, that was the first one that I mined.
Yeah, so Dogcoin, of course, he has a dog food company.
Yeah.
So we're not going to get into too much about this, but, this whole tax issue now that's coming out, it seems to me that, when I first started, the IRS did come out and say that Bitcoin was a property. So we knew, in our company, we knew how to do our taxes. It's just like anything else. If you sold it, you had to go back like first in, first out, know what it cost when you mined it, what gain or loss you had when you sold it, and then, pay taxes on the difference. I can imagine if you're doing a lot of coins or you're doing this daily, it's got to be a nightmare. I mean, I used a huge spreadsheet off of our wallets and stuff, but do you have any information that you can give to our listeners how, if they are miners or going to be miners, how to handle their taxes without getting you guys in trouble?
It's really easy to keep track of everything because most of the miners actually will give you a log after every session, and so you've got all your files right there, and it's actually easier than doing taxes for most businesses because the computer keeps such good records.
That's awesome.
What I feel is going to happen is they're going to come out with a penalty system, and you're going to have to pay the penalty because the manpower that it would take for someone to go through all the transactions and say, well, you actually accumulated 2011 coins instead of 2010 coins is going to be really, really difficult. And it's also going to be really, really difficult with the fluctuation price because right now the way the tax is written is you get charged at whatever rate you mined it at, but that rate can change a second after you mine it.
I know, that's the thing.
And then you also now get taxed when you sold it for capital gains. It depends how long the tax rate depends how long you have it. But then they are also saying it's a taxable event when you trade one cryptocurrency for another.
Right, which is another confusing thing to keep track of.
So actually for miners, it's pretty easy because like you said, there's going to be a whole spreadsheet from each wallet you can export out. But for someone that makes like 50 trades a day that is just a day trader, that's going to be really difficult for them to keep track of every trade that they made.
Okay, that's right. And I have to go right now because we're going to be offline pretty soon. But I really appreciate you guys being here. We could just talk all day. There's so much to say. Thank you so much for being here. And out there, tune in next week or, on our website, coffeetalk.co, to find out more about what's going on with mining and everything else around crypto. See you next time.